Happy Friday, ladies and gentlemen, all in crypto here, and welcome back, guys, for another YouTube video. I hope you've all had a wonderful week, wherever you are and whatever it is you've been doing. Today, we are going to cover 5 altcoins that have now broken out into uptrends, and we're ultimately expecting higher prices on the short, mid to longer term horizon. So we did a similar video to this around about a week ago, just a little over a week now, where we looked at 5 other altcoins that also showed similar signs of not only breaking out of their base resistance on volume, they'd actually come back for a retest. We're currently finding support around that retest point, which is where you broke out from. So resistance flips into support. And now looking for higher prices. But the important thing is that they've had a breakout on volume. They're coming back for this retest on a declining volume. And that volume, we believe, is about to now pick up. So we will be revealing the 5 altcoins in this video. I want to start off, however, by just perhaps addressing some of the perhaps nihilistic thinking that I'm seeing in the cryptocurrency space. You know, people can't handle the volatility in the cryptocurrency market at present. And I just want to bring up the Bitcoin 4-year cycle theory to show you guys that in regards to Bitcoin cyclical cycles, it follows a 4-year cycle typically. It's very much doing the same thing today, or continuing to follow it. But in regards to where we typically are around the halving, post-halving around this time, it's usually nowhere near all-time highs. The anomaly here really is Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana that have all been really bolstered by institutions. If we throw on an altcoin like Ethereum, which is the largest altcoin, you can see where this typically is around the halving. This is very much where most altcoins are at the moment. That other video that we did where we looked at 5 other altcoins, it's very positive when multiple assets in the same asset class are all pointing in a similar direction. And of course, if you guys watch me daily for my daily market updates, you'll know that we cover this in great detail in regards to the macro environment, you know, global liquidity cycles, the driver of global liquidity cycles, which of course is central banks through currency manipulation via interest rates, and ultimately what we think is to come from sort of looking at the market, a 360 view of the markets, and of course figuring out what crypto is going to do. It's going to be the best performer. But a lot of people really suffering, I think, or struggling with a lot of the volatility that the cryptocurrency market has to offer. The best advice, we don't give financial advice here, but I can give advice in regards to people not paying too much attention to the day-to-day volatility and focusing on the bigger trends, which is really what we like to teach. So ultimately, we teach something in our market mastery course, which there is currently 80% off on. It's entirely up to you guys whether you want to do the course or not. We like to teach that the market moves in 4 phases. We like to show you how to identify each one of these 4 phases and what to do in each. And probably the most critical, or one of the most critical points of phase analysis, the market mastery and how markets move, is when you get that breakout from your phase 1 into phase 2, a breakout from your basing phase into your uptrend, your bull market. Now, we are there for the majority of altcoins, certainly Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. We had huge success on calling this for. But generally, markets move in 4 phases. Our phase analysis and the schematics on the screen is a extension of Stan Weinstein's stage analysis, an extension of Dow's theory. It's an extension of Wyckoff's market cycles. Everyone only talks about accumulate and distribute. Yes, they're very important, but there's an uptrend and a downtrend that follow accumulate and distribute. So we're really going to be showing you 5 more altcoins that are doing what is very typical in regards to entering phase 2, the uptrend, the bull market, if you will. You get a breakout of that resistance that you've been forming whilst you've been bottoming out, accumulating, if we were to use a Wyckoff analogy. That breakout predominantly needs to be on volume, or typically wants to be on volume, showing the commitment behind the move. Then you'll often get a retest on declining volume before you then see a surge in volume once more. And these charts that we're going to be showing you are textbook. Let's just first of all show you a few examples. So Bitcoin was a great chart for us. Let's take the draw off. We're suggesting that many of your altcoins are in this phase here, and they've got this to come. Remember, going back to my point at the start of the video, if you look at where the market generally is, obviously this one is a bit of an anomaly because we've got institutional involvement, which is a great thing. It will find its way into the altcoin market. It's usually around about this period here, which is where many of your altcoins are today. So you can see for Bitcoin, we had technical patterns, increased our probability on being right on Bitcoin. Breakout on volume, you get that declining volume, and then volume starts to pick up on the continuation. You had a double retest for Bitcoin. The S&P is a great example that we like to show, and we're very right on. Remember, we were calling for a breakout of the S&P or an uptrend to take place once you took this key level of resistance. Not only did you take the resistance entering phase 2, phase 1 base, phase 2, you then get a retest before you see further continuation. And your altcoins are here, ladies and gentlemen, certainly the 5 that we're going to be talking about. Another one for you guys is American Superconductor Corporation. So it's not just crypto this plays out, and it's gold. It's anything with a chart that you can do technical analysis on, you can basically surmise into 4 phases. You know, if you look at the Wall Street cheat sheet, for example, it's a good schematic. And really what that's doing is identifying emotions that are attached to that. I'm sure many of you are in that kind of disbelief phase at the moment. But again, breakout, real elevated volume, a decline in volume before you see volume start to uptick. Breakout retest, this is where your altcoins are. We're going to show you that in just a second. Obviously, Spotify, this is something I used in my market mastery course. You can see how markets rinse and repeat in this kind of 4-phase pattern. Again, a breakout, retest, continuation. There was also a small head and shoulders in there. And of course, HubSpot, a really good example for us. Breakout, retest. This is likely going to see continuation in our opinion. So now that we've shown you some examples, let us dive into the 4 altcoins, or the 5 altcoins, sorry, that I have for you in this video. The prior video that we did, we'll leave a link to it in the description. Do go and watch that. It's a good exercise to do because we'll have essentially shown you 10 altcoins now that are all destined for higher prices and now in uptrends in our belief. And if you look at the space generally, a lot of alts are still really phase 1ing, basing, double bottoming, you know, this kind of a thing, ready for that continuation that we think is all spurred on by Bitcoin completing that. Let's show you it. If we're going to bring it up, why not show you it? We've got the charts in front of us. Let's not be lazy. Bitcoin has been in a broadening, descending, remember pullbacks in a uptrend, a descending flag-like structure. We've ultimately still got higher targets for Bitcoin. So there's a lot of confluence, a lot of things going to take place that's ultimately going to push the crypto space in the direction we want it to go. But the prior altcoins that we covered in no particular order were AVAX, ICP, Helium, Dogecoin, and Chainlink. So you've got some of our favorites in there. Obviously, we're big fans of ICP, Chainlink. You know, we think Helium's a great project, also AVAX, and of course Dogecoin. We have another meme coin. We like to throw in memes to show you that this is going to work regardless of fundamentals, but we'll cover that one towards the end. So let's dive into the projects that we have for you today that we think have now broken out into uptrends. They're having that retest, ready for that continuation. Coin number uno is Theta. Now, Theta is very interesting because they were originally a big streaming, decentralized kind of streaming platform. I think there's still an element of that baked in, but they've really moved towards becoming perhaps a decentralized computing network, something like Render and some of the others out there with GPUs and I think CPUs. Bullish turn in my opinion because I think this is a massive industry. But what we're highlighting, just like we highlighted previously for you, is that what we've seen for Theta and what we are seeing in our opinion is a phase 1 base. Let's put our 30 weekly moving average on here, that we've broken out into phase 2 on volume. If you look at where the breakout occurred, and then on the retest, you're getting a declining volume ready ultimately to set you up, in our opinion, for that continuation and to enter a broader uptrend. So Theta is altcoin number 1. Again, it's very positive that there's multiple altcoins in the same asset class, or multiple assets in the same asset class, all pointing in the same direction. And we can speak all day about why, on a more sort of bigger time frame, we're bullish. But you've had your clear resistance. So it was support at one point. You can see all the points this has been resistance. You've breakout, and now you've got support coming in. And yes, you have slightly fallen below it, but you need to add a little bit of nuance when it comes to the altcoin market because it's very, very volatile. And actually, even with the S&P, you needed to apply a little bit of nuance. You need to look for relative things following each other relatively. But altcoin number 1, of course, is Theta. So we think Theta is now in an uptrend and destined for higher prices. The next altcoin that we have for you is the Graph. Very, very interesting project, in my opinion. Again, you can very much see what it is that we're looking at. Many altcoins positioned in this same manner. You can see that we have a clear sort of level drawn up here. You can see this is kind of a base, very phase 1-y. This isn't perfect. You've slipped slightly under it, just like we have the previous one. But we've had clear resistance on multiple occasions. Now broken out on volume. Always very, very important. Decline in volume on the pullback. Largely altcoins have just been following Bitcoin, ready for that resurgence. Sort of to deviate below the support slightly. You're seeing wick candles come in, ready for that resurgence and a broader uptrend to take place. So the next altcoin that we are saying is in an uptrend is, of course, the graph. So we've got Theta Network and we've got the graph GRT. The next altcoin that we have for you may be one that many are unfamiliar with, but is a very interesting project. Again, around that kind of deep in kind of narrative is, of course, Livepeer. So you can see Livepeer's resistance here, and you can see in a very Bitcoin-esque fashion, you've got clear resistance that is now acting as relative support. You can see, look at the wicks that you're getting here. Again, breakout. You're seeing key features here. Breakout on volume. Volume declining, ready for that acceleration. Likely going to coincide with Bitcoin breaking out of its sort of descending pullback-esque structure. So we have the graph. So we have Theta Network, the graph, and of course Livepeer, which his ticker is LPT. Next altcoin that we have for you is a rather interesting one. It's really to do with sort of data storage. I know Tron, which is a very interesting project at the moment, a dark horse, if you will, is very much sort of, there's a Tron element to this, but it's BitTorrent. So BTT, they did have an old token, which is why you've got this big red candle. But if you look at again, you're seeing a very similar thing. You're seeing a breakout on very impressive volume, a decline in volume through this pullback, support being found at what was once resistance. So you can see the support coming in here, ready ultimately for a broader uptrend essentially to take place. So that is altcoin number 4. We have Theta Network, the graph GRT, Livepeer LPT, and of course BitTorrent, which is BTT. And it's the new one for anybody who is unfamiliar. The next one that I have for you, very similar to Dogecoin, is of course Shiba Inu. Again, you are seeing a textbook breakout, support and resistance flip take place here. You're seeing your phases play out. You've got your phase 4 downtrend, you've got your phase 1 base, and you're now in phase 2. Again, very important that that breakout was on volume. You can then see a decline in volume. You can see support coming in, ready for that continuation and ultimately a broader uptrend to take place. So the 5 altcoins that we have for you are Theta Network, the graph, Livepeer, BTT, which is BitTorrent, and of course Shiba Inu. We thought we would throw in a meme there. Like I say, Shiba Inu looks very good. It looks very much like Dogecoin. I think memes are going to do well. I think the space as a whole is going to do well, and that very much aligns or is shown technically in regards to how many of these individual assets underneath one asset class are currently positioned. They're all ready for upside and a broader uptrend. And we think there's a major opportunity there. But remember, invest at your own risk. We are not a financial advisor. Nothing we say or do here is financial advice. We just want to share 5 more altcoins with you guys that we think are going to do well in the short, mid to longer term horizon. That's it from me, guys. On that note, I'm going to love and leave you. See you all in the next one.